I don't know why you were in my dream and one down. I don't know why you were. No idea. Yeah. I'm gonna do it.
Okay, we'll call this meeting to order. All three districts are present. Notice the meeting was properly posted on June 6th, 2025. Item number one, is there a motion to approve the minutes of May 27th?
So moved.
I'll second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Number two, TIF 2 and TIF 2A.
No changes.
Never is there?
About once a year, maybe.
Item number three, capital improvements list.
No
Changes. Item number four, discussion possible action regarding repair and replacement of the west side gate operator in the annex and courthouse alley.
Short of redesigning that entrance, which would cost much more money than the replacement of the equipment we're talking about, I would suggest that we go ahead and make the repairs. The equipment is warranted for a year. Again, if you wanted to change things, the design would have to be altered in such a way that either a hydraulic system or a lever type gate would be employed, and that's so much more expensive to design, install, and replace. For a number of reasons, the repair out here makes sense. Cost, availability of equipment, and then the warranty, I think I'm satisfied with. It's a year. So.
Any comments?
Keith, the quote, it says quotation to replace.
It would
It's
not
actually
replace the mechanism. What he's talking about doing, I talked with Mr. Not Scudder, but the fellow that owns Scudder. Replacement of all of the operational pieces and parts. So the mechanics that fail every time it rains, the electronics and those kinds of things would all be replaced, the drive system and so on.
All right, and then going forward, who's going to maintain the gate?
Under warranty, he would for that warranty period, and beyond that, it would be the same approach we would call him for service when needed.
Okay.
And you feel, yeah, I'm saying you feel like this addresses the problem with the rain getting in. We will not. What he's got quoted here.
So I'm told.
And okay, 2 weeks we expect, and then lastly, the money is coming from.
I haven't identified funding.
This is 2 weeks before he would start.
Yes.
Okay, and how long would it take for the actual repair replacement?
I didn't ask that question. I would assume we'll suffer some delays like we do with everything else, and then there will be problems along the way. One thing I can say is that Russell is the gentleman's name. He'll stick with the problem and stick with the installation until it's done. So they're that tenacious. I know they'll give a good effort.
And they're going to hold the price. It said it's good through the 31st of May.
I'm told.
Okay. You're total live.
I believe me, I am.
Okay. So then, say how much money's in the capital projects as needed?
I don't remember for sure, but I'm gonna guess north of 200,000. How much is this?
18.
Oh,
And there's no other, since I haven't been here in a while, you guys haven't made arrangements to use some of those funds for other things?
Possibly. There was some discussion, we don't know yet, there was some discussion of whether some should be taken out of the capital for the mold remediation on the first floor of the courthouse.
Do we have a number there?
Could be,
No.
not exactly, but
No, I know the hard deck, the ceilings that we were talking about in there, we were looking at approximately $10,000 per courtroom, but we haven't gotten any kind of numbers from any of the vendors for duct cleaning yet. We've begun that process, but don't have any numbers.
And there is some unallocated funds, Joe, in that account you're talking about. So you've got enough to do this.
Okay, all right. Given that Stacy's assured us that we have enough money available in the capital projects as needed, would recommend that we go ahead and move forward with this repair at $18,927.35. If you guys will make arrangements to get that encumbered and.
I'll second the motion.
all's in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Item number 5, redesign the courthouse 9th floor HVAC system. We need no action on this at this
I'm sorry,
time.
I'm not any further along on this, but I'll have something for you, I hope, by next meeting.
Okay, you don't need anything else from this board to move
No.
forward with the design that was created, and you'll give it purchasing. Okay, thank you.
Given what happened yesterday, I'd say you got your hands full for the time being.
Well, that was yesterday.
Okay, item number 6, owner's rep report on ARPA projects.
Good morning.
Morning.
We'll start off with the elevators and kind of an overview of all the elevator packages. Submittals are complete, as we know, progressing along with cab finishes and signage, and the revised completion date is December 5th, December 1st, 2026. And that's pretty much the.
I'm sorry, which project are you on?
Elevators.
Okay.
Elevators. This is an overview for all of them.
I got you.
The next item is the court clerk social distancing, the 5th floor. We're proceeding with the original design floor as we reported in the past. All of the abatement has been addressed, and we're proceeding along with construction nicely up there. Annex security front entrance. We have completed the abatement of the existing wall, and we're now waiting for the return of the GC's original abatement contractor. Since it's been a while, we hope that they will resume this week and complete their abatement, that they had in their original scope. The floor finish, redefining the floor finishes has been complete. The architects issued an ASI, and we're proceeding with repricing that. Hope to receive that early this week and get that reviewed. The west exterior entrance, we're looking to schedule a punch list walkthrough with the architect and owner's rep this week, so we can get all those issues addressed and resolved and get that reopened.
Do we have a new target completion date for that, for the entire project?
The new completion date, I'm not aware that there's a new completion date.
I don't think we've changed the completion date at this point, which is what month? I don't remember, Charles. I really don't.
I think it's October
Okay.
of 2026.
Okay. Thank you.
reported on the courthouse elevator and annex elevators. It's the same status as I mentioned earlier. The behavioral health services facility, the resolution for the unsuitable material has been defined and addressed, and we're progressing there. The site work, we're slowly progressing, with all the rain and weather, it's kind of slowed things down, but we're progressing, and submittals are progressing nicely for that project. We expect that there will be some requests coming from the CM or risk on weather based on what we've experienced over the last couple of months. And the existing jail HVAC, we're on the 13th floor. We should finish that this week, which leaves 4 floors to complete, and everything's progressing nicely over there. And that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? Okay,
I'll move to receive report.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, item number 7, update on meetings, Citizens Oversight Advisory Board.
It'll be a couple weeks before they meet.
Item number 8, Vicinity Energy Contract.
This has been a long time in coming. The man behind the curtain from Vicinity is Todd Lewis. He's with us here today and can explain how we got here, why we're here, what we're trying to do, and the kinds of costs and changes we might incur or experience as a result of these contracts. And I'd like to call on him to give a brief history, discuss the whiteness of my tennis shoes if you want, and other things.
Good morning, Todd Lewis, Vicinity.
Morning.
The county's had a contract for heating and cooling for both facilities, criminal justice and this annex, for 30 plus years. I'm not exactly sure how long. The existing contract expired recently, and Keith and I have been basically going month to month on this agreement as we work through trying to get to a new contract. Our contract provides chill water to the building, so the building doesn't have its own chillers. We provide that. It's circulated through the building to provide cooling, and then that water is returned to us. Similarly, on the heating side, we provide steam to the buildings. That's converted to hot water in the building for heating, and then the condensed steam is pumped back to us. So we have those 2 products to both buildings. The new contract reflects some changes over the years. The overall cost, slight increase based on capacity differences, and we've added a cost of water increase. But in general, overall, those changes reflect about, less than 10% by the models we ran. The cost of fuel is a pass-through in these contracts. So when we pay $3 for gas, that cost, that $3 is plugged into a formula in the contract. So on years where the cost of gas is low, the bills are lower. On years when the cost of gas is high, the bills are higher. The usage overall is generally fairly flat. That's what's determining the size of the bill. So particularly at the county, it's the fluctuation with fuel price that dictates the year-over-year changes in the bill. The current contracts, there's 2, one for criminal justice and one for this annex. They are alike in form and function. The differences are that the criminal justice has a 5-year out to reflect the ongoing work towards a new facility. And the annex has a $24,000 credit built in over the first 24 months to reflect some new load that's going into ICB over time. The contracts have now been through review with the ADA. The only two comments were, one was a reference to, instead of calling it a public trust, call it a government entity. That's no problem. The other one referenced what to do in the case the contract was terminated due to unforeseen circumstances. Keith and I agree that's unlikely, but to address it, there's vague language in the contract about the capacity charges going forward would still be due. Instead of that, we're just going to assume 1 year capacity charges and put a fixed amount in that contract. And then that would have to be encumbered on year one or when the contract's approved. To be clear, we don't want to get paid that. It's just out there and needs to be encumbered by the system. And again, I don't exactly know how that works for the county, but our intent isn't to get that money. It's just to encumber it for some future issue. So that's the extent of what I can come up with, but I'll be happy to answer any and all questions.
Was this, in terms of the terms of the contract, is this identical pretty much? I mean, with the exception of the rate changes and everything that you mentioned, was this the same as your contract 10 years ago?
Well, the previous contract was over 30 years ago, and there have been legal updates, but I don't know, the ADA didn't say anything that jumped out to call attention to. I'll say it that way.
Mm-hmm.
In general, in my mind, it's the same form and function, but the legalese of it, again, the ADA reviewed it and our legal reviewed it, and both sides seem happy.
Okay. What the ADA pointed out was my main concern on this was the termination aspect of it. Items, sub-items number 2 and 3.
Page 4, yep. That's the one where I'm saying we just plug a dollar amount in instead of referencing some future amount of years left on the contract or anything like that.
Okay. Should we expect then a rewritten, revised
Yes,
contract
yes.
to come
As long as
anytime soon?
I got this feedback Friday. I talked to my legal this morning. We'll get it changed and updated and sent back. That's not a problem. But both the changes they called out will be updated.
Okay. Keith, does this have any effect with, remember what we were talking about modifying the down drains, I guess you'd call them, on the chillers in the event of cold weather? Would this affect any of that?
We've talked about that to some degree, and any waste that would be experienced down there would have very little effect on our bill whatsoever. It wouldn't be noticed at all. So there's no effect there, and I wouldn't worry about that.
Okay.
Now, I want to make sure you understand what capacity charges are. If you don't, for those that don't, it is the availability, and you correct me please if I'm wrong here, it is the availability of chilled water and steam that is expected to be provided at any time when we're pushing high, very, very high temperatures or very, very low temperatures in winter. So it's the availability of capacity to deliver to us what we need to keep the buildings cool and warm. And so we're being charged for that capacity. We may have capacity of this much, and from month to month only using this much, but we're billed a percentage based on the availability that could be provided to us if we needed it.
Another way of saying that would be it's the maximum you expect to use for cooling purposes on the hottest day of the year. So that's our requirement to say that on the hottest day of the year, you've got X amount set aside for this building. And the way we operate, we could lose our largest chiller at the plant, still provide you with the maximum you need on the hottest day.
And that amount annualized as the termination fee, is that correct? Is it an annualized amount? Is that correct? What the termination fee is going to be? Yeah. And again, the additional charges on this contract is basically a 10% bump up of charges, and then again, the gas fee is just what it is because it passes through, right? Okay.
Fuel cost just rises and lowers.
Yeah.
Over the past 10 years, it's been low, actually. But in 2022, fuel prices were high during the summer and the bills were high. Overall, like I said, we started charging for water simply because water's been going up 10% a year from the city. So that number's in there. The capacity rate did not change. The steam rate increased by a small amount. And all those mixed together comes up with this number.
We benefit from the fact that Vicinity at the onset went to natural gas turbine chillers and boilers. So everything there is based on generally the natural gas prices. We benefit from that in the summer seasons for sure.
It looked like on the numbers that they gave us to be able to budget with the again for our complex here, it looked like it went up about 10%. It didn't appear for the jail though, it didn't seem to be that high of an increase. I maybe not figured the numbers right, or am I missing something there?
No. For years, we billed the county as one customer. Right? We provided just one bill.
Okay.
And then it was divvied up internally to the county. And we helped with that. The county would call and say, can you divide this up? So we picked the capacity for the jail and the annex, basically having it. Well, when we looked at this contract, it's actually the annex uses a little bit more and the jail uses a little bit less. So the jail's capacity reduced slightly, the annex capacity increased slightly. Overall, it's very close to the same, but it reflected what the buildings have actually received.
Yeah.
And on this complex, we separate the usage between the annex, the courthouse, and the ICB. So that's split percentage-wise when the bill comes to this campus.
Well, it looked like, according to what I added up, maybe it's wrong, but it looked like the jail was more about 10%, and the annex was more 13%. But
I'm not sure which
that
number we're looking at.
accounts for what you're talking about.
Yeah. Stacey, do you have any thoughts on this? Have you looked at this? Okay.
So the only difference between the two of these, one's 10-year and one's 5-year.
They're both 10-year, but the criminal justice has an out. They can execute what says we want out at the 5-year mark. I mean, it's semantics, but yes, it is a 5-year contract. But legal has said it's actually a 10-year contract with a 5-year contract. So, they can terminate at 5 years if they purchase that.
Okay. So then when
Like
should
I said,
we?
There's a $24,000 credit to this building. It's not on the criminal justice.
Correct. So when should we expect your revised version?
This week, next
Okay.
couple of days.
Okay. Any other questions?
I don't have any more. I'll make a motion to receive a report.
Good. I'll second.
I'd like to point out while we're on this item that Vicinity has been a great partner, a great captor over the length of time we've been doing business. We are at almost a disadvantage because we used to generate our own heat and cooling here. They've been a great partner to work with. Every time we have problems, they have people on site. Anytime we have engineering questions or issues, Todd's always available. And so they've been a great partner to have.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Todd.
Just one quick question. Go back to the Criminal Justice Authority contract. So it's a 5-year out. We have to notify you, though, no later than the 4th anniversary, a year out. Will that be a rolling yearly out then? Like year 6, we'd notify you, and year 5, depending on.
The way it's set up. And we're very loath to sign a 1-year agreement simply because we're planning our capacity 5 or 6 years ahead of time.
Okay.
So 5-year chunks are really a shorter contract. That's the thing.
And then, so what happens if we get through the 5th year and we're going to be in the new jail in the 6th year? What will that look like?
What I think we should do then is, if we need to change the language, I would say simply that you notify at year 4 for a date. Word it such that we can say at year 4 anniversary, that we expect it to be year 2.5 years from this point on, somehow modify it so that it allows more flexibility that you're asking. That's a good question.
Can you go ahead as you're reworking this contract, put something in that our DA can review to take a look at that contingency? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Joe. I vote yes.
All right. Is there any participation?
Could we
Seeing
have
none?
everybody vote, please, on that receiving?
Oh, sorry. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any board comments, new business? Seeing none, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
There we go. All those in favor?
All right.
Do you want to talk about the events of yesterday? I'm sorry, I was ushering Todd Lewis out and didn't know you'd closed the meeting.
I believe we adjourned.
Okay.
All right, we'll get PBA advisory started. Call this meeting to order. All three districts are present. Notice the meeting was properly posted on June 6, 2025. Item number 1, is there a motion to approve the minutes of May 27th?
I would move to approve the minutes with the correction that on the motion to remove item number 2 was the motion was made by Foster and not by Dodson. Okay, so I would move to approve with that correction.
I'll second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so then are we removing 2 then?
The motion was made and approved. We all voted aye, but it's still on here.
We'll move on to
So it's on the
item
agenda.
number 3 then. Owner's rep on PBA ARPA projects.
Good morning again. Start off with emergency ops. The 37th Street path forward. I would like to correct that from September to August. It's improved to August, so that's good news. The project schedule, as we've been reporting, completion of that is December 31st, 2025. The remodel work of the interior in coordination with the employees out there is ongoing. Same as the exterior work out there, it's ongoing, progressing nicely. The sheriff's office has added an FF&E budget line item. I believe that's been established. Last week we clarified the purchase of the AV will be through a state contract. And that's all I have to report for emergency ops. The elevators, ICB, Metro 1 and 2, as I reported in the BOCC update, work or submittals are complete. The Procurement's progressing, and we're just finalizing some interior cab finishes and signage. With respect to the ICB remodel, the abatement is complete over there. That's another update I would like to note. Interior demolition is ongoing. Slab prep and rebar for the basement will begin this week. We expect the first pour to be the 16th of June down in the basement. Structural steel deliveries arrive on the 17th of this month. And then to follow up with the slab prep and pouring of the basement, the CM at Risk is putting together a pour schedule to help us kind of understand the schedule there of pouring back that.
You said it was scheduled to start when?
The first pour of the basement is the 16th.
16th, okay. How much concrete are we talking on that thing?
Ooh,
yeah. It's a lot.
Yeah. But as far as like a schedule of all the remaining pours there in the basement, we hope to have that here early this week. Kind of outline that. And that's
different types of AV are you talking about? Sorry to go back to emergency ops, but what different types of AV are you looking at?
Yeah, Stacy, can you help me there with that as far as
emergency ops? It's the televisions and the systems he uses to get his weather information. They call it low voltage type items. He moved money from radio project, got approval to move it over to this project, and he intends to spend it in that way.
Paul, if I might, I haven't been here, so this may have been addressed, but because we're utilizing the state contract and we're contemplating ARPA funds, do those meet with the purchasing requirements?
Yeah, we met
using
with
those funds
with the censure, and the censure gave approval
to utilize the state contract.
Yes.
All
The
parts of
requirement
it.
was met by moving the money to the PBA as a subrecipient. And so you've got a little bit more latitude where you go from there, according to a censure.
Well, but to procure items, you have to utilize certain purchasing requirements.
Yeah, they'll get
And we'll
three
meet those utilizing,
different quotes off. There's more than one vendor on state contract for this. There's like 5.
but they all meet the federal requirements, not our state purchasing requirements.
Right,
But
that's
they
in
meet the
purchasing.
federal requirements to utilize these funds.
Purchasing's making sure they have one of those DUNS numbers or whatever it is, so they can do federal work.
Will you make sure?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Stacy. That's all I have.
Thank you very much.
Harvey will be closed beginning on the 16th as well, correct?
Yes,
So
yes, sir.
March, through March?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I will move to receive report.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, items 4 and 5. Any update on ICB that you want to mention, Keith? No? Okay. All right, any participation? Seeing none? Any board comments, new business?
I'll move to adjourn.
Second. All those in favor?
Yeah, there you go.
Aye.